Let's give it all up for Samsung. Get this, no longer when you buy a $1,000 phone from Samsung, we're going to be just loaded down with all these ads on the phone. That's right, no more ads in Samsung Pay, Weather, and other apps. So when is this magic going to happen? Samsung says later this year, the launch date would be, so that's probably like the first new advertising-free Samsung phone is going to be the Galaxy S22. And let's just start with a little fun fact. Now, do you know where the name Samsung came from? Anybody? Anyway, well, here's the deal. The first engineer's name there, his name was Sam, and he had a horrible voice. So everyone told Sam not to sing, but Sam sung anyway. All right, that's not true. I totally made it up. And you see, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again. You can find us on over 420 top stations from coast to coast, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can find us streaming as a podcast, webcast, any old time that you want, 24/7. Just head over to a special address, and that's getkim.com. And you can also find us on the American Forces Network Radio. Love this, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. And I'm sure you have at least a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. All right, let's start with 5 things that you need to know about tech that's happening right now. And news about Afghanistan, it's all over, right? As we have an eyewitness seat to history, seeing America's stunning defeat as Afghanistan falls to the vicious Taliban. And we hear about the Taliban atrocities, the beheadings, the killings of those who surrender, the murder of children. A woman was murdered because she wasn't wearing a burqa the other day, and social media is trying to deal with it all. But here's the deal. The Taliban's so-called key spokesman has about 600,000 followers on Twitter day and night. And what they're doing is they're writing these glowing reports about how the Taliban's advance is normal and the Afghanis are thrilled beyond belief that the U.S. is gone. Now, you may not think much about this, but one question, how is it that former President Trump is banned from Twitter for life, but not the Taliban? Now, I'm not arguing, we're not getting political, I'm not arguing to give Trump his Twitter account back. I'm just simply asking, why does Twitter allow global terrorists this platform? It's nothing new. This is a question that I've been asking since 9/11. If nothing else, Twitter, how about a little intellectual consistency here? I mean, what exactly is the policy? If you're on Twitter, you ought to be asking the folks at Twitter, saying, what's going on with this? Moving along to number 2, Elon Musk going to be tweeting out an emoji in response to this one. Are there serious troubles with Tesla's autopilot? Well, 2 U.S. senators say maybe. Senators Richard Blumenthal and Ed Markey, they've asked the Federal Trade Commission to investigate Tesla's claim about this so-called autopilot and claims that its cars are FSD. Anybody know what FSD stands for? Anybody? It's Tesla speak for full self-driving. They say that Tesla drivers believe that their cars can actually drive themselves, and they aren't aware of the sometimes deadly consequences. Since 2015, 11 people with the autopilot enabled have died in Tesla crashes. Now, Consumer Reports called for Tesla to change the name of its autopilot 5 years ago after the first fatality. Now, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating the autopilot after about a dozen collisions, and one actually was with a first responder vehicle. So if you drive a Tesla, my best advice is that you actually drive the thing. But, I started thinking about something. Imagine missing a payment on your Tesla. Does it drive itself back to the dealership? That would be something. All right, number 3, show me your vaccination card, baby. I need to see it. I'm talking about restaurants, clubs, venues. They're all asking to see vaccinations cards. And the easiest way for you to keep your vaccination card is on your phone. Why? Because you always have your phone with you, and then you don't have to worry about losing these cards or damaging them. Well, over at Komando.com, we have a few ways for you to save your vaccination card on your phone. It's if you're using Notes on your iPhone, easy. Google Drive on your Android. What you're going to do is you're going to pin or star that vaccination card to the top so you always have it. You can also add your vaccination card to Google Pay, by the way. But new this past week, if you have a Samsung Galaxy, you can use the Common Health app. You get that in the Google Play Store. It shows your vaccination card within the Samsung Pay app, and then it shares it as a QR code. If you're traveling, you're at a restaurant, going to work or school, what have you. Now, you should also check the State Department of Health sites. Some states like California, boy, they did a great job with this. You put in your name, the last four digits of your social security number, your phone, and then you get a text back with your QR code that contains your vaccines. Other states like New York, New Jersey, they have their own apps. I was going to come up with a good vaccine joke, but, what's the point? Only half of Americans will actually get it. All right, number 4, it was only $10. A letter from my listener mail that I can't wait to share with you. Hey, Kim, I live in Los Angeles. I need to show my vaccination card to get anywhere fun. So where should I go buy a good-looking fake vaccination card online? All right, this past week, thousands of counterfeit coronavirus vaccination cards wrapped up in bundles, printed with the official CDC logos, they were seized by U.S. Customs and Border Protection as they passed through this major shipping hub in Memphis. Most of them were purchased through eBay, and then sometimes they were shipped directly to Americans from China. But they had words that were misspelled, meaningless English was printed on the card. But the question is, could a private citizen using a fake card be arrested? Listen to this. Legal experts say yes. You see, any unauthorized use of any government emblem, it's all a federal crime. So whatever you do, stay away from fake vaccine cards being peddled on Instagram by influencers. Get it? They're going viral. Finally, number 5. Gen Z has discovered an amazing new use for their smartphone. Oh, you know what? We are all going to be astounded and amazed at this. You're going to sit there and go, oh, gosh, thank goodness, Kim Komando. Thank goodness. On average, Americans text twice as much as they call. Cell phone users between the ages of 18 and 24, they send and receive an average of about 3,800 texts a month. That's up 653 text messages from Pew Research Text Messaging Report in 2011. So if you have anybody in your family under the age of 24, they always have their phone in their face and they're always texting. But get this, Gen Z is changing. Big news out this past week that they have discovered, are you ready for it? That your smartphone can be used to make phone calls. I know, it's amazing. Kira Russell, 22-year-old student from New Jersey, was quoted in this New York Post story as saying, I would much rather tell somebody, oh my God, I got a new job, or that I just did something really cool. I mean, seeing their actual reaction to what we're talking about, it just makes it seem more personal to me. Yeah. Mitchell Gonzalez, 24 years old from Boston, said, phone calls to me feel extra special. Now it feels like writing a letter to someone. So that's right. Gen Z has found out that phone calls and FaceTime calls are actually good things. And in other news, vinyl record sales, I don't know if you heard that, they're up too. And speaking of phone calls, you have to be careful. I just received a spam phone call the other day saying that I was so excited, won tickets to see a tribute act for Elvis Presley in Las Vegas, or I could get $10,000 in cash. It said, press 1 for the money or 2 for the show. I know. That was a bad one. I know, but you're going to repeat it. You're going to be like, and your family and friends are going to go, oh, you're so clever. And of course, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open. That's at 1-888-825-5254. And just a quick reminder is that if you ever have a question for me that you'd like me to answer here on the show or on the website, you got it. Just send me a note. I know you can send me a note through all of social media, which, by the way, if you're ghosting me on social media, what are you waiting for? Okay. Instagram.com/Kim Komando. Twitter.com/Kim Komando. Guess what? Facebook.com/Kim Komando. See the trend? Pinterest.com/Kim Komando. But you can always drop me an email. The best place to do that is on the website because I get too many notes through social. But I do read every single note that comes to me through the website, and that's over at Komando.com. And then there's a button right on the top-hand side that says Email Kim, and that's where that magic happens. Let's start this hour with Lisa in Montgomery, Alabama. Lisa, what's going on?
Hi, Kim. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. I've been a fan for some time, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I will be going through a divorce soon, and he is the one who set up the tech and did everything in the house like that. I turned my phone on, clicked the button for Wi-Fi, and he gave me the password, and that was that. So I guess as I prepare to have my own home, I don't really know what do I need, how do I do it, what Wi-Fi, cable, is it, my own email. I mean, he set up the email, so do I need to get? Who would you recommend me getting my own new email address through? That I mean, just all the stuff, the stuff.
All right, so you're doing a fresh start from the very beginning.
Correct.
Now, are you moving out, or are you going to stay in the same place?
No, we're moving.
Okay.
We'll be selling the house.
All right, and then so you're not going to keep any of the existing gear, the router or the Wi-Fi.
I would assume he's going to want it all.
Okay. Which is actually the best case, because I'm not saying like this guy's a weirdo, but I've gotten so many phone calls over the years where like he moves out and she stays there, she moves and keeps the gear. And then all of a sudden she's like, how does he know everything that I'm doing? How does he know everything that's going on the network? And so that's why it's always good if you're going to get a fresh start, let's just get a fresh start. Okay. So wherever you end up going, is that you're going to have a cable company. And they're going to provide you your TV, and they're going to provide you your internet access. Then they're going to give you the option that you can rent a modem from them and a router. So you need two pieces of gear. You need a modem and you need a router. It's up to you if you want to rent it until you get settled. But just know if you're going to be at this same spot for say a couple of years, is that you're probably better off buying it. Because then you're going to save more money in the long run, because they're not very expensive, but they're going to charge you $10 to $15. Okay. Now, when you go to get the cable package, is that they're going to say, it's $50 a month, $75 a month. How many folks are going to be in the house?
4.
Okay. So obviously you and 3 kids. Okay. And,
yes, ma'am.
And they're playing video games, correct?
I'm sure, yes.
Okay, they all are. So at that point, take a look at anything that will be like at, say, 25 megabits. That'll be the download speed, okay? Which is it'll probably run you about $75 a month, all right? So, at this point, you can have, how old's the oldest one?
18.
Okay, he can set up the gear for you, all right? He can.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So we're just going to give him that job, all right? And make sure that he changes the passwords and all those other good things. And then you'll get an email address from the cable company, but you can also get a Gmail account, which is free and it's easy, and you can get one right now, and it ties into your whole account, all right? And so, and then because of the divorce, I just wrote, it's so funny you should call. I just wrote this past week what to do if you're getting a divorce, okay? So you're going to see that right on the website this weekend. And so as the planets have aligned, you and I together, is that I walk you through, I want you to make sure that you change your passwords on all your accounts. And how to find all your accounts. And then there's a little thing that sounds kind of crazy, but your ex is going to know all the answers to all of your secret questions. Your mother's maiden name, where you went to school, what your favorite food is, your first dog, whatever it is. And so if you're worried about him getting into your stuff, is that the general rule of thumb is that, well, you lie. As long as you can remember how you lie on your security questions, you'll be fine. I know, it gets really nutso. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to send you over a link to that particular USA Today column. And if you are interested, you're breaking up, your divorce, and, it's really something that you want to go through all of these steps. Just hit Komando.com this weekend. It'll be right there at the top. And then you have it over at USA Today in a week. And thank you so much for your call today, Lisa. Coming right back, we have more of your phone calls. All right, a couple of things I want to pass along before we go back to all of your great phone calls. We have our digital life hack you don't want to miss, is that if you're using an iPhone and if you have a Windows PC, sometimes it doesn't always work. It's like adding curry onto your spaghetti. Yuck. But not anymore, because your PC is now PC with Apple. With the latest release of iCloud for Windows, you can now sync your Apple passwords from a PC. iCloud for Windows lets you access your iCloud photos, your videos, your mail, stays up to date across all your devices. And get this, switch hitters, if you use Apple passwords on your PC, you can now autofill all those bad boys. So you need to download iCloud for Windows app at the Microsoft Store if you haven't already, and you're welcome. And one more thing, this is really important. These quick response codes, QR codes, are pretty common because after all the pandemic, no longer do they really have printed menus a lot of places. It's just one of those QR codes that you use with your phone. Well, there's been an increase over the last few months of QR codes that are pointing folks to fraudulent content or fake websites. So if you scan one of these malicious codes, maybe it's an online ad, maybe it's a social media post, or maybe it's in a newspaper, it can take you to a spoof site that looks like one that you trust, but it just wants your info. So you want to be super duper careful about that. Carm in Ontario, Canada. Hi there, Carm.
Hi there. How are you doing, Ken?
I'm good. Welcome to the show. How can I help you?
Well, Ken, I love your show. I've been listening since the late 90s, and it's just awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I have a question for you about something that we've done for probably thousands of years, and now it's a digital form of it, is raising money for a family in need or gifting to a family in need that's had a tragedy or misfortune. Traditionally, maybe this would be something done in a hall or, launched in a pub, and the family of the fundraiser, the goal would be to raise some money so that
Sure.
they can address the misfortune, right?
Right.
And they'd probably be told about the fundraiser. They'd probably be invited to come to a fundraiser night. But how come then, in the digital world now, this version of something that has been done for many, many years in communities gets away with not even telling the families that that the money is being raised for them, not inviting them to be involved, and then not giving them the money? So how is that possible? What's the hack?
So obviously this happened to you, right?
This is from personal experience, yes.
So who did they raise the money for?
Okay, so the money was raised for my son, who, we experienced a tragedy in our life. His mother, is not with us. She's passed on, and suddenly at a young age. And so he was the focus of this fundraiser. Yeah.
And then who did the GoFundMe? Was it like your relatives or anybody like that?
No, it wasn't any relatives. It was some coworkers from my late ex-spouse's workplace.
Oh.
Mostly. And an old friend from high school of hers from 17 years earlier who lives on the other side of the country.
And so how much money did they raise, and what did they tell you when you reached out to them? I'm sure you did. You don't sound like a shy guy.
I did after a while, because could you imagine in a traditional world if I was sitting in my living room and somebody came to my door and said, "Hey, they're doing a fundraiser for you down the street at the community hall, and they didn't even mention that you exist." Okay, so this is what happened. It's funny. They raised almost $70,000, and so it was a fairly successful campaign.
It's a lot of money.
But my son has not benefited from one dime of that, and so the money just hasn't addressed the tragedy that they used to raise the money for.
So they were trying to raise money for the boy, right? Who's obviously under the age of 18, right?
Yeah, he's 4 years old.
Oh, he's only 4. Okay, so they raised 70 grand, probably saying it's for the kid's education, well-being. Who? Yeah. So does the boy live with you?
Yes.
Okay, so you have sole custody of the child.
I'm an actual single parent. Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm sorry that you have to go through all this, and I'm sorry that they just not telling you where the money's going or anything.
Yeah, and you asked me about reaching out to them, and so certainly I did. At first, actually, it's interesting because I promoted on my Facebook site this fundraiser because I thought, oh my God, thank you so much, somebody's out there and they're thinking of us. And but then time went on, and I did reach out to them, and I didn't read the narrative. And once I read the narrative, actually, I couldn't read any media for a while about all of this stuff. And so once I finally did read the media about it and read what they had written, I didn't exist.
Oh,
this narrative was written, and a lot of people assumed that this boy was parentless. So I was kind of like, well, what's with that? Right? It's not very accurate. You shouldn't have been able to do this in the first place, but it's not that accurate. And can you give me some sort of details what your plan is, that the money is safely and appropriately managed and indeed set aside from the son?
Right.
I got nothing. I got, oh, don't worry, we did a good thing here. It's not about you, is what I was told.
Well, I'll tell you what I would do if I were in your shoes. You've already tried to talk to these folks, right? I mean, you already have text messages and emails and correspondence going back and forth.
Yeah, twice I tried to reach out to them twice. The second time was 4 months after, and at that time I got, I'm tired of listening to you, Carm, when actually it was just a really brief, and it was the second message I sent, and it was the same thing. Can you provide me with some sort of details as to what you've done and what state the money is in? I never have asked for the money, just.
Yeah, you just want to know if it's being invested or, if it's in college savings account or whatever it is. But here's the deal, is that within GoFundMe, you can claim a GoFundMe that has been started on your behalf, because you're not the first time this has happened.
Right.
So if it was created without your permission, without your consent, and you are sole custody of this child, the 4-year-old boy, that has already gone through enough tragedy. I mean, the little guy lost his mommy. I mean, for God's sake. I mean... So what I would do is I would file a claim with GoFundMe. I would report the fundraiser to them. They have these various things. And then what I would do is one further, Carm, is that I would, and you have my permission, I would send the person who's in charge of all this, and if you can't find him, I'll find him, and I'll step in for you, and I would send them a copy of this phone call. Because you just called a radio show that's on 420 odd stations. Okay, millions of people that are listening right now who may have the same thought or may have the same problem, and maybe they didn't know that this was even possible. And so if it does happen to you, is that you can fill out this form, and hopefully when you fill out the form, Carm, what I'm hoping is that you're not going to end up in that intergalactic bit bucket of Facebook, because nobody ever responds to those things. But I'm hoping that if we can do this with GoFundMe, and I'm happy to step in. So I'm going to put you on hold, Carm, because I want to figure out on Monday if we can maybe make a note. It's like, let's find a PR person for GoFundMe. And the interim, I want you to fill out this form. So this way, when I call them, is I want to say, hey, listen, Carm filled out the form, and so you have all the details. Let's figure this out, and let's figure out how we can get the $70,000 into a savings account for the child and the child's custodian, which happens to be his natural father. So, that should seem like that is a no-brainer by all accounts. I mean, I don't know a lot of the details, but if you came to me and told me that was the situation, I'm like, okay, here you go. I mean, it doesn't belong to coworkers of the former spouse who passed away at obviously a very young age. It belongs to the father and the son, and primarily the son. So, Carm, fill out that form. We're going to shoot you a link to that form. And then when you get that done, send us a note back. And then I can tell the people there that I'm going to contact for you. I was going to give you a copy. It's called, but I'll take care of it. I'll send them the call. And let's see if we can get some resolution for that. And I'm sorry that you're having such a tough time, at such a point in your life and in your son's life. It's got to be rough. So we have these air tags and we have these tile trackers. They're, little tiny things that you can drop into various places. And by using your phone or an app, you know exactly where that thing is. So we put together a list of some ways that you might want to use the air tags or the tile trackers. Like number one, you can drop one right into your luggage. Yes. So when your luggage gets lost and the airline says, we don't know anything about that. So you can say, I know where it is. It's actually in Miami and I am in Memphis. And so again, you drop one in your luggage. You can also use it to keep track of your pets. That's right. I put one of these bad boys right on my dog, Abby. And I love not having to charge the collar anymore. Now, what about your cars? Okay, if you forget where you parked your car, you can always drop one in your car. If maybe you have a second car, a vacation car, you can see if somebody's driving it around. If you have a teenage driver, love this, toss a tracker somewhere out of the way. Number 4 on our list is your motorcycle. ABC7 reports that one motorcycle owner lost his ride for 3 days. It was a rare Italian motorcycle. He found it. Number 5 on our list is guns. You can use these little trackers to keep track of valuables, like a gun or a gun bag, a rifle, shotgun, pistol. Number 6 on the list sounds a little crazy, but maybe you're elderly relatives, because you can put one inside of their car, inside of their purse, in their pocket, things like that. If you ever lost your wallet, that's number 7. You can attach a tracker to it. And obviously, number 8 is a no-brainer. You're going to put one right on your keys. And for links to the trackers, as well as some cases and carriers that you might want to consider, head over to Komando.com. That's Komando.com. And when you're there, hit the link that says Kim Show. All right, still to come this hour, we have more of your phone calls and some great tips. Like later on, some CAPTCHAs may not be what they seem. So stay right where you are here with the Kim Komando Show. You know, I just did a podcast about AI because I read about this story. This guy, Joshua, his girlfriend died back in 2012, and he just really couldn't get over it. And so then he fed some AI, or pardon me, he fed some text messages and things into AI. It cost about $5. And then he brought back his girlfriend in an AI bot. And then I also spoke to the developer of it. It's really a fascinating story. And it's also a place where if you wanted to try, I'm not saying you want to do that, but if you want to try out an AI bot, you can do that. I'll also tell you more about that. So wherever you get your podcasts, Google, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, even at Komando.com/podcast, is that what you can do is find this podcast, listen to it this weekend. It's really fabulous. We called it She Passed Away, Then He Turned Her Into an AI Chatbot. It's under Kim Komando Explains. Again, that's Kim Komando Explains. And back to the phones we go with Robbie in Smiley, Texas. Hi there, Robbie.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. What's going on?
Oh, not much. I did want to say one thing real quick. My daughter moved out there to Phoenix last August, and it's been about a year.
Sure.
And her name is Mary Michelle, and I just wanted to say hi if she happens to be listening.
I'm sure she is on KTAR here in Phoenix. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Listen, I want to do some Wi-Fi work at my property, and it's going to be about 800 feet.
Okay.
It's about what I'm thinking is we have a pump house it's actually a shop, but we call it the pump house, and it's about 400 feet.
Okay.
And then the next building is the barn, and that's where I keep my Jeep and stuff, and it's about 400 feet. So, and there's other caveats. They're metal buildings.
Okay.
So I'm probably, going to need an interior Wi-Fi. Is that right? I'll need an antenna outside and some inside.
You can do both outside. Let me tell you what I did, and then I'm going to point you in a direction on our website. I'm building a house. Okay. And so a friend of mine lives 1,800 feet from where I'm building the house. And so, and I wanted to put security cameras up at the new construction site, obviously, right? But there's no cable, there's nothing. And so I was looking at cellular Wi-Fi, and then Ryan and I were just talking, and he's like, hey, why don't you just use my connection? I'm like, dude, thanks. So
that's handy.
Yeah, it's nice to have friends. So what we did is we bought something called a Ubiquity Nanobeam Gen 2. I know it sounds kind of crazy, and on the website, I actually show you how we put it in, how we did it. And
really?
So I want you to look at this solution. And so this way you're familiar with the technology. And so basically all we have is we have an antenna on one side and we have an antenna on the other side. There's some stuff on the inside too, without getting stuff being the technical term, right? But you might need a bridge, but I'll tell you, it works flawlessly. It works so well. And it's really great because it's one of these solutions that you're not looking at like, okay, now how do I do it? So this is 1,800 feet. And so you only need 800 feet. So, gosh, this is like nothing. Nothing. So anyway, we're going to shoot you over a link. Everybody else, we'll put a link to how I put it all together in the Q&A forum over at Komando.com. In case you want to check it out before we get up there, it's the name of the article is called Genius Way to Get Fast Wi-Fi Anywhere on Your Property. And let's see if we can put it up on the homepage over the weekend as well, because this is always a common question. Richard, thank you so much for your call. We have more coming up here on the Kim Komando Show you don't want to miss. Hey, thanks for watching a past episode of my national radio show. That's why it's called The Kim Komando Show Rewind. Now, to get the entire show, all 3 hours, when it airs live, or you can get on demand, head over to getkim.com and you can become a member of the Komando community. There are a ton of perks. Aside from just the show, you get free ebooks, a place to get answers to your tech questions, and more of me. So come on, what are you waiting for? Click that link right now and become a member. And thank you.